Hey guys, welcome back to WatchGauge. I'm down here in Bayport, Long Island. I'm about a half a mile from my office, which is it's one of my favorite spots. There's a pier here. It looks a little hazy and cloudy out now, but above me it's actually blue skies, and it's a beautiful day. So the reason I came down here is because if you guys have followed any of my videos from early on, I came down here quite a bit to do some videos as well as some photo shoots, particularly with the NTHs when I first got those. So now that the weather's breaking, the sun's peeking out a little, I figured I'd come down here and do a quick intro for today's video. Yesterday, a good friend of mine, Marvin Menke from Hemel Watches, came out to WatchGauge Headquarters and we did a little bit of a sit down. Hemel Watches is our newest brand on WatchGauge. I've been friends with Marvin for about 3 or 4 years now. I actually met him when his brand, when Hemel, was in its Kickstarter phase. So we had a nice sit-down chat, talk about his brand, talk about his inspiration, where he came from. So let's take a look at that. Hi everybody, welcome back to WatchGauge. My name is John Keel. Today I have a very special episode. We'll get into that in just a minute. So as I'm trying to get more into this video sort of thing, I would love to do wrist checks immediately. If you watch my videos prior, I do them 5 minutes into the video because I always forget. So in any case, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get too close up, I'll try to zoom in, but I'm wearing the new NTH Nazario, which was a WatchGauge exclusive. We did 25 pieces. It is based on the Rolex Zerograph, which is one of the rarest Rolex on the planet. That's where the inspiration came from. So today I have an extremely special guest with me. He's a good friend of mine. He's become a good friend. We'll get into the backstory in a moment, but everybody, I'd like to welcome Marvin Menke from Hemel Watches.
Hey there, I'm Marvin. I am the owner, founder, operator, chief executive officer of trash disposal over at Hemel. And yeah, I met John a couple of years ago during my Kickstarter. Hemel started as a Kickstarter project a few years ago, just through overlapping social circles that we had in common.
So yeah, so let me kind of give a little bit of backstory.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
So many of you know that I started WatchGauge in September of 2017 is when it officially launched. I worked on WatchGauge for months before that, prepping and everything, but my launch was September of 2017. Backtrack a little bit. I have 20 years experience in the watch industry. I was in wholesale, I was in retail, and 2.5, 3 years ago, I had a different office here in my hometown where my business itself was creating and designing and manufacturing high-end watches for wealthy individuals, corporations. So then I was in my office one day and I got, I believe it was an email first, and from you, and it was, hey, we have some friends in common who mentioned that you're in the watch business. I'm starting a watch brand.
Yeah.
Would you like to have lunch? So we had a phone call or two, and then you would come out to my office.
I came out to your office with nothing but a handful of prototypes.
Yeah.
Hemel was nothing but a handful of prototypes at one point. And that was probably, that was either at the very beginning or in the middle or right before I started my Kickstarter campaign, which is what raised the seed capital to get everything
For your first model.
going. Exactly. And I just wanted to get your input and see if you could help steer me in any directions. And
yeah,
we stayed in touch.
Yeah, the funny thing is, believe it or not, prior to the day you came out to my office, I had never even heard the term micro brand. So I have to credit Marvin for turning me onto micro brands.
It's all my fault.
It's completely his fault. So all that money you guys are spending on WatchGauge, blame him, not me.
I apologize.
So that meeting was interesting. You showed me your brand, and me coming from the background of traditional watch retail.
Right.
You explained to me how you're going to sell them direct to consumers through Kickstarter, through your own website.
Well, I wanted input from someone like you, and I thought someone with your pedigree and your professional lineage in the watch world could shed some interesting insight into what.
Yeah, well, I was certainly flattered for sure, but what's funny is looking back on it now, I probably gave you some awful advice, because in my mind I was thinking, you're going to have a hard time starting a brand, and if you want to hit retailers, which I believe at the time you really were thinking about going into the traditional retail realm.
It was something I wanted to consider, certainly think about. I mean, I don't think any advice is bad advice.
Right.
You certainly did give me some tried and true establishment
Yeah, I think
sort of chat, which
if I recall,
took with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and if I recall, and if I think back on it, I was trying to kind of give you whatever perspective I had, but I had a very traditional knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge of Kickstarter, of direct sales, of micro brands, things like that, social media. I mean, before last summer, I've never had a Facebook account. I think I had an Instagram, but only followed watch brands. I never shot a video. I was never in a video before September. So all this has been new. Yeah. And again, thank you for introducing me to it. We basically, what happened was we kept in touch. We remained friends. We talked a bit. And then I actually started researching micro brands. I fell upon NTH and Chris Vale and Kyle from Stratton and all the other great brands doing stuff. And that's when, a year and a half ago or so, it's almost 2 years ago now, I said, I see this as a great segment of the watch industry. And I bought a couple of watches for myself, micro brands. I fell in love with them, and that's really how this all started. So again, I won't say it again, but thank you for that.
That's all right.
So let's get to why you're here. I've been a big fan of your brand since day one. Mostly your enthusiasm, your design, aesthetics, things like that.
You have great enthusiasm also, and that always, rubbed off on me, and I said, this is a good person to stay in touch with. And
I tell everybody in the world, and I mean this, every time somebody says, how you doing? What are you doing? How's everything? I'm living the dream, right? Because I get to do something I love for a living. I'm not,
It's terrific.
I'm not doing something that I say, oh, crap, I got to go to work.
You have to love what you do.
Yeah, so that's where the enthusiasm comes. It's more natural than a concerted effort because I just genuinely enjoy what we do. So, there was a reason that you and I couldn't really do business. Not that we couldn't. We decided not to do business from early on in WatchGauge.
Right, that's true.
Because my good friend Mark over at Island Watch, hi Mark, Mark and Marvin work together. Mark sells Hemel on his site. And I said, well, gee, Mark and I are very good friends. I'm not going to infringe on what he's doing and try to take a brand.
Right. We were just very safely towing the line because I don't, and nobody really wants to burn any bridges.
Right, and they're genuine friends. I mean, it's not like
he's a good guy. He was an early believer in Hemel.
He's a great guy. He's got a great site.
Even earlier than John was. So.
Yeah, Mark actually was an engineer, I believe, and he started his on Island Watch, Long Island Watch. He started many years ago as kind of a side project.
Right, and it became, full-time.
Yeah, he's actually the foremost knowledge that I'm aware of on Seikos. He does Japanese domestic market. He's an authorized Seiko retailer. So early on, Mark and I agreed, and I called him months before I started WatchGauge, but Mark and I agreed, look, I'm going to be doing this micro brand thing. You're going to be doing, all the brands that you currently carry and others. So we said, look, let's just not step on each other's toes. There's plenty of business out there for everybody in the world. Let's try to help each other and be, as friends would do. So he was carrying your brand.
Yeah,
so,
and I had a few discussions with Mark about, working with you, and he never had issue with it, and he really just gave me his blessing, and he said,
he's such a gentleman. Well, the thing is that Mark was in my office last week. Again, we're friends. He wanted to see the operation and how I go about things and things like that. But I guess with his discussions with you and with me, we kind of realized Mark and I don't really have a whole lot of overlapping business.
No. Well, that's what Mark said. He said, by working with WatchGauge with John, it would just open up a whole new, avenue of growth for Hemel, which helps him.
Correct.
It's all about branding and getting the word out there.
And just so you guys know, you can look forward to, Mark and I discussed actually doing some videos together, going to events together, things like that, because the truth of the matter is, for those of you who were never familiar with Long Island Watch, now you are. Go to his site. I'll put some links in the description below. And vice versa. I mean, he's got much more clientele, so I have a little bit more to gain, so thanks, Mark. But the truth of the matter is we're all friends. We all love watches, so the more we can work together, the better.
And we're all Long Islanders.
Well, yeah, we're not the stereotypical Long Islanders that you might see on some crazy television show, But yes, we're all Long Islanders, and we're very proud of that. Got some local brewery signs up here. As a matter of fact, I want to give a quick shout out to Anthony Kozlowski of the Bremont Boutique in New York City. He brought out some wall art for me. These beer signs are going to go on that wall or somewhere else, so this can be more.
We're going to get you some Hemel
so there'll be some Hemel signage, and we'll mix and match and turn it around. So anyway, thank you very much, Anthony. Thanks for the guys at Bremont. Very, very dear friends of mine, and look forward to doing some stuff with them in the future. So the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, where the rubber hits the road and all those cliches, is that I am now an official authorized Hemel retailer.
Welcome aboard, John.
Very cool, and welcome aboard to WatchGauge. Absolutely.
Finally.
Yeah. So let's do. I know my videos tend to get long, but let's get into you. how you started the brand, why you started the brand, your design inspirations, and
Hemel was originally the name of my design consultancy, and I had spent many years, probably more years than I want to admit, in the design industry working on branding and package design. And I've done all sorts of things from copywriting to photography to product development, packaging design. And I basically use the entirety of my career, basically, my whole skill set really to create and develop Hemel as a watch.
So Hemel wasn't your end game. Through all of your years of work, you weren't saying, I'm working towards creating a watch brand.
No. Hemel was the name of my design consultancy, and the watch really was a premium, a sort of gift I can give to clients, better clients, around the holidays or birthdays, or just to mark the end of any special occasion, like a project.
So when you were designing the watch even, it wasn't as a commercial product. It was more of, I'm going to gift this to my clients.
Right, I'm going to gift it to folks. And the more I showed it to my clients and colleagues, the more they encouraged me to bring it to market. And by this point, the internet had given us so many gifts by way of crowdfunding and marketing and social media. So many gifts to the entrepreneur, really, to get the name out there.
It's so funny where life takes you, right? So I was a brand rep for years, and then I became a retail director for years. And nowhere along that way did I say, I'm going to own an e-commerce or internet site. And and if you told me 2 years ago that I'd be doing social media, I'd say you're out of your mind.
Right.
So it's crazy that you do all these life experiences, and I'm not going to ask your age, but at 44 years old at the time.
We're in the same neighborhood.
Okay, but at 44 years old, I said, well, gee, I'm going to have a whole new career and a whole new segment doing things I never thought I would do.
Yeah, ditto. I mean,
but it's all in, it's so funny.
It's so funny where
life takes you.
Where fate takes you.
Not to be a life coach here, because I don't want to be Gary Vee or anybody like that, but the truth of the matter is, so just never shut the door in your mind of what your life's going to bring, right? So that's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's all about following passions and being happy. I mean, when you're happy at what you do, it shows. I think a key ingredient in excelling in whatever you're doing.
I agree, and I also think that, and this is not, again, I'm not trying to life coach here or toot anybody's horn. If the more you take care of people, the more you treat them the right way, right? The more you offer of yourself without expecting things in return. That's really what brought us together.
I was going to say, you've done a lot.
Well, but I don't know if you realize that you've done a lot as well. So, but nothing was out of, okay.
It was like we fed off of each other.
Yeah, it's not. I'm going to gain if I do XYZ for Marvin. Marvin's. It's not. You're going to gain if you do XYZ for John. It's just, and that's, a lot of guys say, well, you're friends with the guys from the Urban Gentry, which I'm very grateful for. They're great guys. And we kind of do the same thing. I'm friends with Mark. We do the same thing.
None of us are really keeping score.
No, there's no score keeping to be kept because when you win, we all win, and when I win, we all win, and you know what I mean. It's and our clients win, and the consumers of social media and watch fans all over. The more everybody collaborates. I not to give up any information whatsoever, but you guys are going to see a lot of collaboration between Marvin, the YouTubers, some other social media guys, myself, because we've all kind of, and other brands for sure, we've all become a group of friends who really love seeing each other succeed. So this is kind of getting off to a way different topic, but
we're going off topic a little bit. But it's nice to say, and it's good to put out there because it's all about the positive energy.
Yeah, 100%. And plus, I believe, again, this people watching this are going to see who you and I really are, aside from the watches and the things like that. So all good stuff. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. Let's. You have 3 collections now, correct? That are public.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Briefly tell me about 1, 2, first, second, and third.
Well, I mean, as a watch guy, and the more I researched and looked into watches, the more I realized, and it didn't take very long before anyone could really realize that nothing has driven horological innovation more than military need, whether it's
absolutely.
Whether it's shatterproof glass or hacking movements, or the very
water
fact resistance,
chronographs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The very fact that watches migrated from our pockets to our wrists
that's one thing that a lot of people, not that they don't understand, a lot of people may never have heard.
Right.
Prior to the early 1900s, there wasn't such thing as a men's wristwatch,
No.
right? Wristwatches were dainty little things for ladies as jewelry.
Right, they called them wristlets. So
Right.
there were some quote-unquote wristlets that some women wore on their
Right.
wrist, and it was a very feminine.
And that was for only the elite people, right? The
Right.
ultra wealthy and things like that. But every man had a pocket watch.
Right, that was part of the man's uniform,
Right, and
if you will.
so, but it was out of the military necessity for somebody to be able to glance somewhere quickly and see the time, whether it's in the
Right.
trenches, as an airplane, or anything like that, which actually led to people strapping pocket watches onto their wrist, correct?
Right. Well, I mean, you know, if you can imagine during the haze of war, during the Great War, basically, American GIs fighting trench warfare in Europe, it rained a lot, you know, and the bottom of the trenches they dug up became very muddy, full of puddles. So they would flip out their watches, sweaty hands, wet hands, and they would fall to the bottom of these puddles. So, I lost my watch, and
Right.
it just became easier while shooting rifles and bazookas to have something you can quickly glance at on your wrist.
And it was safer. Because
And it was safer, and it wasn't falling in the
Right.
water, and that also helped develop, you know, water-resistant cases.
Yeah. And your first collection?
My first
is a
collection,
field
so
watch.
drew upon that, right? So as a watch guy, as a purist, basically, in a lot of what I do, I had to incorporate that military sort of DNA into the core of what Hemel was doing. So naturally, I went, you know, for me, it was natural to go with a field watch, and I think field watches endure as a mark of style throughout the ages because they're so basic and have a utilitarian vibe, no fuss. A lot of guys like field watches, and pretty much every company has done their version of the field watch. So what I wanted to do was draw upon different field watches from different periods in history and incorporate them into the HM series, which is the Hemel military series, and that was what, you know, began on Kickstarter.
Okay.
And really got the ball rolling. And after that collection, I came up with the HF series, which was the Hemel Flight series, and again paying homage to the great lineage of military timepieces. This time looking towards the sky,
Right.
and the HFT 20. Looked at the Type 20 and 21
Which was
chronographs.
Correct?
Brigade did a version
Okay.
of one of them, and they're still doing them today, very known
Yeah.
for that. And that took place in the probably 1950, early 50s.
Okay.
And I, you know, I've had some reasonable success with that. It's been a big hit.
That's
for
the
me.
Hemel that I wear quite often. Is
That's what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
now,
As a matter of fact, the one you're wearing is the exact same one that I wear. And you know what's nice about it is, in my opinion, I know there's a lot of micro brands out there that are doing chronos and doing this and that. And, you know, to me, this particular model, the HF series, really is quite unique to what other brands are doing. If I look at your HF,
Yeah.
to me it's a Hemel.
Oh, really?
Meaning, it doesn't look like a lot of other divers or a lot of other field watch or anything else. To me, this is the
Thank you,
first.
John.
Yeah, to me it looks like the Brigade that I'm familiar with, but but certainly not a copy. But to me, it's a very personal watch. Meaning, there's not 100 of other watches out there looking like that.
Yeah, I think what I like about these military watches are the black dials, you know, and
Yeah.
the high contrast, and they tend to go with a lot of different outfits, and you can wear them with a blazer, you can wear them
And
with a sweatshirt.
You've got a touch of orange on this.
I do have a touch of orange.
Tell everybody the story you told me about the reason why Hemel's signature color is orange. And by the way, WatchGauge also incorporates orange with our logos and things.
Yeah.
Just because I happen to love orange, but you
Yeah.
have a real reason for it.
Well, I think we all have real reasons for the, but for me it gets a little personal because it's a very special color to Hemel. I come from a Dutch ethnic background, and I grew up in a bilingual Dutch-English household. So for me, to incorporate a little bit of Dutch, the national color House of Orange, comes from Netherlands. Hemel is actually a Dutch word.
Meaning?
Hemel. It's pronounced Hemel. It means the sky, which was the first way by which we were able to note the passage of time. Really.
Wow.
So to me, it just was a sort of.
He's much deeper than he looks, guys.
So to incorporate a little bit of my background and honor my Dutch-speaking parents and grandparents and family, and have a little bit of time-telling, timekeeping in the name and the branding of a watch, and have a little bit of that orange as a point of differentiation. Yeah, it's just very special to me.
Right on. So, all right. So we have the HM, which is the field,
Yeah.
the field case, field watch. You have the HF, which is the chrono, the Type 20 flight watch,
the flight
Hemel
watch,
flight watch.
right.
What's the third collection that you've introduced?
Well, actually, the third collection I went back and redid the HM series.
You did?
I did a Swiss-made watch.
Okay.
And I did that to.
But to me, it's pretty distinctively different visually.
Yes. It draws more on mid-century aesthetics. The first collection was more a study in the fluid nature of curves, not unlike the fluid nature of time, and how, again, our time telling, the rotation of the Earth, the rotation of all the planets around the sun, all these spheres and curves and orbits, and this is how we tell time. I wanted to bring that to the form factor of the first HM series. So without a flat plane for the eye to rest on, your eye is constantly engaged, as we are in the slipstream of time. So
I'm so not this deep.
I wanted to incorporate that, cool. Again, and make it,
awesome.
just something really cool. Again, that my colleagues would appreciate in the design world, which is how it started. But it was a challenging sort of sell in some cases, for some people who want more of a straightforward watch, not unlike the way some people want a straightforward polo shirt. These things don't change that much over the
but it was a way for you to make put your own signature on a field watch. Again,
I'm very proud of that. I mean, my HM24, which is the HM1, the very first one, has been more than half the watches I've ever sold were that. And
the HM, to me, again, yes, it screams field watch, but there's a very distinct difference to most field watches I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. So you've got the HM field watch.
Right, the HM, the HF.
You have the HF, then you go back to the HM.
Right, so
for the Swiss quartz movement.
Right, I wanted to have a more wallet-friendly price point. I had a lot of people who wanted to buy into the brand and believed in what I was doing, but they just couldn't swing it.
Right, so I'm asking this question, knowing the answer, not knowing if you're going to allow me to air it. So you've got the land, you've got the air.
Right, so Hemel has been...
We don't have to give up too much information.
Boots on ground, right? Hemel's been boots on ground.
Right,
Hemel's been wings in air, so
with the flight watch.
It's not a big stretch of the imagining where we're going to go.
We can leave it there.
And I'll leave it at that.
Follow Hemel's Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything you have. You'll tell me what the links are. We'll put those in the description.
Yep.
That way, because he does do a lot of teaser shots, especially on Instagram, so you can kind of get little glimpses of what's to come in the future.
What's to come with Hemel and also with this collaboration.
Yeah, so that's something I was just going to mention. There is something in the works that you guys might be able to allude to or kind of figure out that we're working on together. So there's a lot of fun stuff to come. We also have something separate than WatchGauge and separate than Hemel that we're going to be working on with some other folks, because I mentioned the collaborations, the friendships. So we have kind of something we're all building with a group of us. And I'm going to leave you guys guessing at that. I'm not going to go into it further because we still have a little while before this all comes together. And then you guys could gossip about what it might be. All right? So we're going to end this here.
We'll end it here.
I'm going to, after everybody sees this, going to get some close-ups of the watches that you could find on WatchGauge.com. The specs, nothing too incredibly long. If anybody has any questions whatsoever, comments, anything at all, you're certainly welcome to email me at john@watchgauge.com. Follow our YouTube channel. Subscribe is in the corner here somewhere in front of Marvin. I think it's that corner. Instagram @WatchGauge, Twitter @WatchGauge, our Facebook page. And can you kind of rattle off your socials real quick, what you have and,
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Hemel Watches is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website is hemelwatches.com. You can reach out to me with any questions, comments, or concerns.
However, one thing, if you're going to buy a watch, you can look at them on his site, but you can buy them on mine. I'm just kidding. You buy them on there too.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's a win-win for everybody.
All right.
So thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Next few moments will be the HM, the HF, the HM Swiss.
Right.
So we'll talk to you guys real soon. Thank you so much for following. Thank you for everything in the world. Really genuinely appreciate it. You will see this guy again in collaboration with us. So
Future WatchGauge episodes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So I hope you guys enjoyed my little sit down with Marvin. He's a phenomenal guy. I love his watches. They are on WatchGauge for sale. He's got 3 collections out. There's a little something coming up in the future with possibly a 4th collection. And make sure you follow us on all our social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Don't forget, right now, until June 1st, the NTH Catalina, aka the Urban Gentry watch, is on WatchGauge for a very limited time, a pre-order. Once those pre-orders are secured, we're going to place our order on June 1st. There'll be very, very few remaining afterwards, so if you want one of those, make sure you jump on one of those. And before I sign off, I want to make a good point here. You know, the Urban Gentry started with TGV as the host of a channel where he was reviewing watches, and he's turned into one of the largest YouTubers in the wristwatch industry. A lot of the posts that we've seen with the Catalina that we've just launched, a lot of people are mentioning, oh, why would I want to have somebody's name on my dial or a YouTuber's channel on the dial of my watch? The Urban Gentry has turned into much more than a guy and a YouTube channel. There's a Facebook group with over 40,000 members. It's a closed Facebook group with over 40,000 members. There's also a handful of people and fans who have come together from all over the world, all different walks of life, all for the singular passion of wristwatches. So to me, to TGV and Giancarlo and the rest of the Urban Gentry team, to Chris Vale, the Catalina, the Urban Gentry watch represents so much more than a YouTuber and his channel. It represents a group, a large group of people who are passionate about watches, love talking all things watches and everything that's encompassed. So keep that in mind. Go check out the watch on WatchGauge.com. Links will be in the description below. Go check out Hemel on WatchGauge. Love the watches. Marvin's a fantastic guy, a good friend, and we'll get back at you soon. Thank you.